Go. Satnam, Rabindra here.
And Myra, it's been a while.
Welcome to the portal to Bloom. So
it's reopened.
We're back at it. It's been a minute. Life gets real. And as parents and entrepreneurs, we really got caught up in life through the eclipses and the equinox and
that Mercury retrograde.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
Really put us in a tizzy of a pause.
Yeah, and Yogi Bhajan said something interesting about Mercury retrograde, the eclipses, all these things. He said, let them do their thing and you do your thing, and I know we're so also hip to the game when it comes to the next full moon and this and that. And at the same time, we got to really focus on our lane.
Yeah, focus on what you're cultivating and stay in your lane.
So speaking of what you're cultivating, we wanted to talk to you today about the portal to bloom that we're going to be bringing out to you very soon. I know we've been talking about it for a while, but
during that Mercury retrograde, it really helped us hone in kind of the essence of the whole thing. And
So so I just wanted to share a few stories. So first, we have a lot of people and friends that we work with and talk to casually, and there's two different groups of people that we've found, and so we were working, and for me, people are blooming is my mission. It's what drives me. You sit next to me in a cafe, and within minutes, that's kind of what we're talking about is how to up level, how to find freedom, more freedom in your life, how to find that next step that will really take you to another level. And I'm always looking for it for myself, for my children, my wife.
Yeah. So then it's easier to see in others too, when it's imbibed and it's lived in wisdom, applied wisdom.
And speaking about lived wisdom. So we had a husband and wife couple approach us and say, hey, we love what you're doing with the Kundalini practice. We really want to try it. And so Myra worked on a set for them, and they wholeheartedly did it for, what did you give them, a 30-day challenge?
I gave them a 30-day challenge, and it's now we're in the 80s.
Yeah, they're pushing it 80 days as their sadhana, as their daily practice.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be ongoing.
Yeah, and so for them, they found miracle after miracle after miracle. So day 5, something amazing happened for them. Day 15, something amazing happened for them. And some of these things were little things, but for them, they were like, whoa, I did this and this happened. Cause and effect reality. And that's the beauty of Kundalini yoga, really, right?
It's fast.
Yeah.
It's fast when it's applied, and there's not that there's a need for an expectation, but you're just doing it and trusting the process.
And I think trust is key.
Yeah.
And then we had another friend who we gave the meditations to, and she came back with kind of it didn't work, and she was the one that kind of didn't check in with us. She didn't, I don't feel like she was as wholeheartedly in it. She didn't really believe it or trust the process.
Well, it started very casually, that interaction and that request. We casually, gave her a particular set and just try it, see how it works. But also knowing that particular friend, has her mindset on the idea that
it doesn't work.
That it doesn't work.
And here we have a saying that says, what you work works.
Yeah.
And so this husband-wife couple that did it, they worked it and it worked. And then the other friend who was more casual with the request, and we were casual with the download for her, and she got a very casual result, which was null. And it was really a head scratcher for me because this meditation works.
Yeah, it moves mountains.
Yeah, we're talking about Subhag Kriya.
And I know some of you know.
Yeah, some of you know about Subhag Kriya, and it works. And I was like, how could it not work for her? And I really came down to that was the transmission, was the sharing, in this day and age. And even what we're sharing in Portal to Bloom is going to be an online course membership program. However, we're going to be very active in it. We're going to give the transmission. We're going to do the one-on-ones. We're going to do live weekly or live monthly challenges. And we're going to work through the process with you.
And also weekly Q&As, like any questions that need reflections. Not that we have the answers, but just to kind of, like my teacher would say, reality riff on you know, what's happenings on a personal level and also societal and global scale too, to help navigate these times.
Yeah.
So kind of like a council, like we want to kind of step into this leadership that's been knocking on our door for a while now, but we've been so like, you know, hindered with the parental scale.
Yeah, we have a story about parenthood and we, you know, and I recognize it. I feel like I've been drowning in parenthood, and it's definitely true. Like just getting the young ones to school. We're here because they're in school again. Yeah, and we have 2 hours before we have to pick them up. But anyways, we're gonna actually get beyond this pattern ourselves. And so we shared that story because we feel like that's going to be the beauty of Portal to Bloom, is that we're going to really embed ourselves in it as like a mastermind of sorts, you know, and as an entrepreneur, it's just so, sometimes you just need like, you know, just a quick chit chat, like 15-minute, like, hey, like this is what's going on. And, you know, you don't need like a full download of much. So we're going to offer those weekly chats, and
the idea is to kind of shift perspectives and shift the way that you see a particular situation or a particular hindrance or a particular challenge, so that you can either drop the problem, but in order to drop the problem, we need some altitude, right? And when we come together, we get that perspective where we can see the thing from like a bird's eye view. And then we can like, oh, okay, that's actually not an obstacle. I'm just feeding it so it perceives to be bigger.
Yeah. And for us, where we want to share this process that we've used ourselves, that we live ourselves. This is a process my wife and I, Myra, have been doing for a decade or so now, you know, and it's basically what it is taking, you know, my 20 plus years of entrepreneurial work and blending it with the Kundalini in a way that kind of brings the best of both practices together. And then we also add in earth wisdom, because we've been doing a lot of earth wisdom work with our mentors as well. So we bring a lot of like, how do we integrate this with the earth, with nature, and also use that as a force to move us forward. Yeah,
and we intend to kind of bring them onto this platform as contributors and guest speakers with deeper words of wisdom.
Yeah, with our indigenous elders, and it's going to be beautiful. So we maybe even hope to get some of our Kundalini elders on with us.
Yeah, hopefully. We've been talking make their way to Bali.
Yeah,
or even virtually.
Taran and Taran, they're in their 70s. They've been doing Kundalini. They were the head of the Kundalini Research Institute, and they have a farm in Mexico. They were, you know, early teachers of the practice since a very long time.
Yeah, some of you, if you're in the sound current of these teachings, you will recognize them by the music that they've put out, because they're big contributors to the mantra for these particular teachings. So you probably already know.
So there are definitely exciting times ahead. I know there's a lot happening right now. We were just in the equinox, and now we're in the eclipse portal.
Yeah, we're in this in between. The opening just opened over the full moon, and now it's about to close.
Yeah, so it's a Libra
new moon.
It's a Libra, right? Eclipse.
It's in the Libra. I mean, it's closing in the Libra hemisphere, so the northern hemisphere. Or is it the southern?
This one is in the south.
The southern hemisphere, yeah. So it's kind of going into its close with the solar eclipse in Libra. And so if you kind of remember what happened last year, when
around last October
in Libra, that's kind of when the current situations that we're starting to see, you know.
Yeah, lots of things will be resolved.
Come to light.
Lots of, you know, for me, I remember like during the eclipse, I started looking for things to eclipse. I'm like, I'm going to eclipse before I get eclipsed. And the forcing of it actually doesn't work. So allow these eclipses to naturally occur. You know, I know,
because it'll show you what actually needs to be eclipsed, whether you versus you trying to control what needs to be eclipsed. I mean, we say, give spirit the right of way.
Yeah.
If we forget.
Yeah. And in that way, also we know that this Libra eclipse is in the south node, and it's actually not happening for many decades. So this is kind of a once in a lifetime, or once in a moment situation. So there's lots to look forward to, lots of up-levelings happening.
Think about the archetype of what Libra represents, right? It's the scales, it's justice, is harmony, it's beauty. I mean, it's ruled by the planet Venus. It's all things beautiful. I mean, how I feel like recognizing that a flower is beautiful isn't taught. It's this inherent inner knowing. This is beauty, right? So kind of returning to that ability to connect to the beautiful things that are natural, right? That are able to be recognized. And then also recognizing that you are that same beauty reflected back. And finding that inner harmony. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we're excited about the eclipse, and then moving into that, after the eclipse, moving into kind of a focus of how can we close the year in a mindful, beautiful way. How can we, look at 2024 between October and the end of December and be like, I completed some things, and I've made some progress, and I've made created new forms of joy, and I've created new ways of offering myself,
Are also new forms of trauma. Just kidding.
Yeah, lots has happened globally,
Polarity.
right? Yeah, lots is happening in the world.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, there's a stir up of energy, especially with the subconscious mind, really bringing forward a lot of the fears that the collective is under.
And that's also what the Portal to Bloom is about, is giving you tools to clean it. And I know you can find these tools other places, which we're so grateful for that opportunity. We're so grateful to be able to have access to so many ways to clean the subconscious programming, to clean the subconscious mind. Because if it's not reset, we're constantly running on these programs that aren't serving anyone. Yeah. And we recently learned, one of our teachers said that the subconscious mind runs in multiple directions.
All directions.
All directions. What?
8 million
miles.
So the subconscious mind is that big.
And this is energetic, right? And I remember a book that Elizabeth Gilbert wrote. I think it was called Magic, something magic. I'm sure Elizabeth Gilbert.
Big Magic.
Magic. Yeah, Big Magic. And she says that ideas or thoughts are entities. And in these teachings, we talk a lot about thoughts are parasitic. Some of them, not all of them, but the ones that hold you back are definitely parasitic. And if you can kind of consider that this thought can be eliminated, like why not invest in that participation, right? And prove that you can dismantle these structures, right? They're energetic structures that are bigger than the circumference of the planet, relatively. So if we can start to dismantle them, or just not give them so much of the right of way and move out of the way so that spirit can play, then there's opportunity to be happy, to be healthy, to be holy, and to walk in the path of beauty.
Mm-hmm. And truly just get out of your own way.
Bottom line.
We seem to be the bottleneck to what Spirit really wants to deliver to us. Again, we just have to learn how to clean and clear, and make a communication with nature and with Spirit in a way that you can have a conversation, you can have an interaction, you can have something more than what's going on in social media or email or your business or your family life. There is a higher connection that is right there waiting to be activated, and it takes activation.
An effort, a huge amount of effort on our part. And it's constantly going against the slate, going against it's almost like the curves in the brain. There's a particular curve and a particular path that kind of keeps firing in that way. But to change the path, it's a new groove that needs to be put into place. So it's going to take more effort. It's going to take more attention. It's going to take more of an energetic investment on your part to get that new groove in the brain, so that you can have other pathways. It's like the route that you get home to. You always know that route, right? Comes easy. and it's almost like you can get home asleep, right? You can be listening to something or audiobook is on and blink of an eye, you're home. Wow, how did I get home so quickly? Right? But if you change the course, say for example, you know what, I'm going to go off the beaten path, find a new route to get home, then there's a level of awareness and altered attention that needs to be put into place to find that new pattern to get home to.
Mm-hmm. And we're operating within cycles, within cycles, within cycles. So like, we're going from equinox to eclipse and then into Libra season, into fall, into winter, into New
Solstice,
Year, solstice coming, right? So
everything's fast, guys. The velocity of time is fast and it's speeding up. We've been talking about this for, a decade, probably even more so, maybe 13 years, how time is speeding up. And right now, there's the proof in the pudding. Like, blink of an eye. Yeah. What? We're in 2027, and who knows who's the president,
Yeah, but let's stay here.
Let's stay here.
We have these cycles and cycles and cycles, and we have, the portal to bloom where we want to deliver fourth day of the moon, 11th day of the moon, full moon, new moon. All of these things kind of intertwined with masterminds and talks. And it's a way of us to activate and give back and share, in a humble way. Like, we've come this far. Maybe we don't have it all figured out, but we were some things that we are proud of as we've left our hometown. We've left our home country. We've taken a nomadic trek. We arrived here in Bali less than 5 years ago. We've made a home for ourselves. Our kids are in a wonderful school. We're in a community.
It'll be 5 years in November.
Wow. Yeah. So we've built 3 shops. We've built our online. We've done a lot. We've come a long way, and there's just so much we can share that we want to impart on new parents wanting to come to Bali, for example, even. If you're in the fashion industry, if you're in wellness, if you're in yoga, these are all beneficial things for you to join and be part
agriculture and any type of that earth tending to practices.
Yeah, and we're constantly experimenting, and we do have a method that we use in addition to Kundalini yoga from the entrepreneur side that I've used personally as a consultant, helping companies build. One of them was $1 billion company and helped multiple multi-million-dollar companies go from 9 to 23 million, for example, in a short matter of time. It's amazing what can happen when you have a methodology that you work with that's worked, especially even with the Kundalini, bringing that together. I think it's a really exciting offering.
Very important.
Yeah, for this time, especially for us, and to be in community together with you, whoever chooses to join us on the path.
Also, too, I find that when we share, there's this reciprocity, this circular feedback, because it also helps us step into the arena of the Tao, into the arena of working in alliance with that which is the macro. And it helps us also continue that work and continue that expansion.
Yeah, and it's through your stories and even like the stories of the few friends that we were working with to see how does it work? And then just kind of touch base and move along together, So that's where we're at with Portal to Bloom. We're going to have kind of 3 main course offerings to start it off with. There's Made into Mother, which kind of started as as Myra started doing some of this work with pregnant mothers and kind of working with them using Kundalini yoga.
Kundalini yoga methods, meditations, techniques, and also kind of just shifting the mindset on what has been the narrative around being pregnant and the birthing process, and just kind of giving you autonomy and the freedom to feel liberated in that space, feel held, feel supported, and kind of have the trust in place in your system that if things are good from the beginning, things will be good up until the end. So.
Yeah, and from what I saw, the women that you worked with were confident, They went from fear to confident again. They had beautiful at-home births.
Yeah.
It's nice to have that conversation, and especially from someone like you who've done it a few times and also worked with many women now in that process. In addition, where what I'll be kind of heading is the Bloom into Abundance course modules, which Myra will help me with the Kundalini meditations that are part of each chapter. We start with the magic wonder of alignment, and how to align and order your life in a way that leads you to actually feeling what intention feels like in your body. So once you feel what alignment feels in your body, then we move into what is your calling, what is your dharma. And so once we get really clear on your dharma, and this can happen within 4 days or 4 weeks, max 6 weeks will get you to your dharma, owning it. There's a beauty in when you own your dharma. There's the most successful people in the world, many of them don't even know why they're doing what they're doing, and they have this emptiness in their heart. Once you have your dharma in place, maybe it's a working title for now, but it's better than not having a working title. For me, people are blooming. For Myra, it's women are empowered.
Women are empowered, yeah.
And it came from your desire to be empowered yourself, and even from myself.
You'll find that what you seek for yourself, you want for others.
So there's a clue as to like what your calling is, and it's been called Dharma, and people do all these meditation retreats and all this kind of stuff to find it, but at the end of the day, they never own it. And so in this program, we want you to name it, declare it, own it, and then from there, the next module is about recrafting your offerings that are in alignment with your calling. And then once your offerings are in alignment with your calling, then we can do some social media strategy around that calling in itself and how to express that. And
refine it to its core.
And we are working on some fun bonus items with some astrologers and some other stuff the nerdy stuff that we do. We want to bring it all together and have a bit of a panel of experts that we work with that you can work with as well.
We call it the crock pot.
Welcome to the crock pot. We wanted to share this today, and there's probably going to be more. One idea that Myra and I are working on is the Moving into Grace series. Yeah,
this will be kind of like a 6-week series where we will actually move through it together, and we'll start with the opening and get the kind of understanding of the intention collectively and also individually, and then I'll give you a week's of tools and instructions to connect to. It's going to be based on diet. It's going to be based on self-care. It's going to be based on altering the spaces around you and personal practice and journaling. And then you'll have a week, and then we'll have a Q&A at the end of the week to recapitulate what is happening in your life. And then next week, same. New set of instructions. The idea is to return to the original instructions. Remember what we've exchanged for ingenuity, right?
And the weekly check-in is so key to just kind of keep everyone back in focus. And also, we felt like doing this near the end of the year would be just a perfect time to like get everything in order. So you couple that with the Bloom into Abundance, getting your calling, putting things into alignment in your life right before the end of the year, and also owning your calling.
Yeah, this will be primarily, Moving into Grace will be primarily structured around the feminine and humans that identify as the feminine. And then the Blooming Entrepreneurship will be kind of a blend of masculine and feminine.
Yeah, just kind of bringing our work together, but also focusing on the topics such as radiance and magnetism and all the beauty that Kundalini Yoga brings to the table, and then learning how to integrate that with your world, your business world.
Yeah. Yay.
Awesome.
I think that's good for today. Yeah. We've hit all the major key points.
Yeah.
We ideally want to keep it short so that we don't lose you as the attention span is dwindling.
Thank you for being here, and we will check in with you very soon.
Yeah. Sat Nam.
Sat Nam.
Happy new moon to come.